You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Well, hey, you've seen inflation going absolutely crazy. Is it going to continue? And what effect does that have upon your retirement? Well, with us now is Nathan Cox, a retirement expert. Nathan, it's great to have you on the show. Inflation is raging out of control. We're obviously in a recession or very close to one. What do you make of it all?
Well, the inflation numbers came out. Inflation was running a little bit hot, a little bit over expectations. I think it came in at 9.1 year over year. So yeah, it's a little bit out of control. I agree.
So as an investor or as somebody who is looking forward to retirement, hopefully in the near future, what are you supposed to do about all this?
That's a good question. I think it really is going to be the result of what the Fed's actions are and how to get this inflation under control. The Fed only has certain tools available to be able to control inflation. They're trying to decrease demand by increasing interest rates, by increasing the Fed rate, the Fed fund rate, but they don't have any control over the supply chain issue, which seems to be a continuous thorn in our side, I guess you could say.
Sure. Yeah. So you can't control the supply chain. And the question is, if you pull the punch bowl away, as Greenspan was known to do, and you make the economy go cold turkey, how's that going to work out?
Well, it's not going to work out too good at all. I think the problem that we're having right now is I think people have short memories. People remember the 2008 recession, right? That was a little bit of an immediate effect. We saw the effects of that recession almost immediately. This seems to be a little bit more slowly progressing. I really don't think that the vast majority of consumers have come to the realization that we're in a recession yet. And I think that's really kind of part of the problem. There seems to be, continuous demand out there. The Fed's going to continue to be aggressive with interest rate hikes, but unemployment's still pretty low.
Yeah. But that can turn around. Unemployment is the lagging indicator, right?
That's true.
It's not the leading indicator. And we're seeing unemployment claims going up, all these things. So, we could be in that recessionary position very quickly, couldn't we?
Well, sure. Yeah. And I believe we're already there. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, you said earlier that we're in a recession. I believe that, recession is defined as 2 back-to-back quarters of declining GDP. So I think we're already there. There's 2 basic schools of thought here. One was that we weren't going to enter recession until sometime next year, if we were at all. And the Fed was going to try to create this soft landing, I guess you could call it. But I'm finding that increasingly less likely. I think this is going to be a continuous battle for quite some time.
So you think at some point the Fed is going to have to back off here because we're in a recession? Or do you keep raising interest rates going into a recession and hope for the best?
Well, like I said, that's part of the 2 different consensus or what you're hearing is the Fed was going to continue to increase interest rates throughout the end of the year, and then they're going to start backing off next year. I don't find, or I should say, I find that less likely because I really think that the Fed's not going to be able to back off too early. I think they're going to have to continue to raise rates on through 2023, and I could see unemployment, eventually hitting 6%, somewhere in that range. So,
and do you think the Fed's measures to bring inflation down are enough? I mean, the last time they tried to do this, really we had runaway inflation was during Volcker, and we went up to double-digit 20% interest rates. They can't possibly do that now. That would just tank the global economy, wouldn't it?
I believe it would. And I think the Fed is doing what it can do. But once again, we've got a different component here, which is a massive supply chain issue. I mean, you've got the virus causing problems. You've got a China zero COVID policy. They're shutting down with any new variant that's coming out, which is continuing to cause supply chain issues. You got the war in Ukraine. So there are some different components this time that make it even a lot more challenging than what we've seen the Fed do historically.
All right. So as an investor or somebody planning for retirement, and it's not that far away, your retirement could conceivably be decimated by this inflation, couldn't it?
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Torque Resources is an exploration company establishing a portfolio of premier copper gold early stage projects in Chile. Torque's management and technical teams have a strong track record of raising capital, discovery, and monetization of exploration successes. The company's Margarita Copper Gold project is located within the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt in Chile, which hosts some of the world's largest and most profitable copper mines. The Margarita project possesses excellent discovery potential for a major copper discovery due to the strength of the alteration system, large-scale magnetic targets, and the presence of copper oxide mineralization. Drilling is anticipated to begin in Q3 of this year. Torque trades in Canada under TORQ and on the OTC under TRBMF. To learn more, go to torqueresources.com. That's torqueresources.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network. The information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Yeah, I mean, the broader market indices, I think, are going to suffer during this period of time. If you're relying on, an index fund, or if you're relying on growth-based investments, then sure. I think that, that strategy is going to cause some problems in retirement. And a lot of people are still relying on those types of strategies. The vast majority of Americans are relying on a 401k or a 403b or something of that nature. And they do have limited options available. But I think it's really smart to be a little bit more selective with your investment strategy now, focusing on quality, focusing on dividends, things that can weather this type of an inflationary environment and these types of pressures.
Mm-hmm. And how long do you think the inflation's going to last? I mean, these geniuses have been telling us, don't worry, we can print all this money, nothing's going to happen, nothing bad. We got this thing, we got it controlled, and then you find out, maybe not so much, huh?
Well, obviously they don't have it under control. I mean, that's the biggest issue. I really believe that with all these different factors involved, this inflationary environment is going to be around for probably a couple of years. I mean, the Fed said that optimal inflation is 2% a year. I don't find it likely to get back down to that point anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I guess they'll, if they can create a new definition of recession, they can create a new definition of optimal inflation, right?
Well, I guess they could.
They probably will. So is there any investments you recommend that have some inflation protection to them and that can help mitigate these rising consumer prices and impact on your portfolio?
Well, making sure that, especially in retirement, making sure that you've got adequate income, making sure that your income is being generated naturally, I think is really important. Just that basic concept itself. Not relying on growth and capital appreciation exclusively, but having a good income component to your portfolio so that you have adequate income for your retirement. Now, as far as individual investments are concerned, like I said, being more selective, focusing on value, focusing on quality, focusing on things that pay a decent or good interest or dividend without falling into a dividend trap, which is very important.
Right. So just define dividend trap, what that means exactly.
Oh, gosh. Well, a dividend trap is a lot of people are chasing yields. They want to get income on their investments. So they'll buy a stock that pays a really good looking dividend. And it's a very attractive dividend. And then the company will cut the dividend, the share prices fall, which makes the dividend yield higher. And then the dividend looks even more attractive than it did before. So people buy more shares, or other people buy those types of investments, and then they'll cut the dividend again, and the share prices fall. You just don't want to get into that type of a trap. And there are several companies out there that I could see people falling for that.
Yeah, well, then you start chasing yield, you give up quality, and then you wind up with neither, right?
Exactly.
So, all right, well, it's going to be with us for a while. So I guess you just have to accept the inevitable, maybe not retire, maybe retire a couple of years later than you were planning to. Perhaps that's the alternative. Cut back now so you can afford to retire, right? You don't have a lot of choices.
Well, I think all of us are going to have to cut back, to some extent. The gravy train is unfortunately, I believe, coming to an end. So, there's going to be some cutbacks across the board. It doesn't matter, if you're 20 or 40 or 70. I think that's inevitable anyway.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom with us. People want to find out more about you, Nathan, connect with you on the web. Where is the best place to go?
Sure. They go to our website, which is risolutions.net.
Okay. And there's a link to that in the show notes on Financial Survival Network. Make sure you, when you're on the site, you click and sign up for our free newsletter. If you've got a question for Nathan, you can run it through me, KL@KerryLutz.com. We'll get you an answer. Nathan, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.